I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and welcome to the April 8th, 2025 regular meeting of the Township Council of Jackson. This meeting will now come to order. Pursuant to the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, adequate notice this meeting was properly provided by transmitting a notice of the meeting on January 28th, 2025 for publication. Notice of this meeting in the Township Council has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and the office of the municipal clerk. We will begin with a roll call. Councilman Borelli?
Here.
Councilman Palmieri?
Present.
Councilman Sargent? Absent. Council Vice President Bernstein?
Here.
Council President Kuhn?
Here.
Also present this evening is Township Attorney, Mr. McGuckin, myself, Township Clerk Martin, and Assistant Business Administrator, Ms. Novak. The next item for tonight's meeting is an update from the Department of Public Works, Mr. Sean Belinsky. Council President Kuhn?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is an update from Sean Belinsky, our Supervisor of DPW. A few updates for residents regarding the Department of Public Works. We've officially begun bulk collection across the town. Zones 8 and 7 are now complete. Brush collection for Zone 8 is scheduled to begin on April 14th. As a reminder, please place all piles neatly at the curb and avoid blocking sidewalks. The Jackson Jungle upgrades are currently in process. There was a slight delay due to the recent weather conditions, but as soon as the grounds dry out, our crews will resume work. In addition, DPW has started demolition at the Field of Dreams, and the contractor will begin construction once the jungle upgrades are complete. I was recently contacted by a representative from the American Corp New Jersey ambassadors regarding the Barnegat Bay Blitz cleanup. Their assistance, their assigned areas include Jackson Township. They will be conducting their cleanup on April 17th at 2 p.m. at the Purple Heart Trail System at the Bungle Hill Bogs. They're expecting about 10 to 20 volunteers. DPW will be providing material through the Clean Communities program, and we'll also have a few staff members on site to assist to handle disposing of collecting of trash. This is a great way to kick off spring and refresh one of our recreational areas. If any member of the Pathfinders are interested in joining, we look forward to seeing you there. Looking ahead, we are also hosting our annual townwide spring cleanup on May 4th. So far, 30 local nonprofit organizations have signed up to participate. If any residents have any concerns about roadway litter or areas that need attention, please do not hesitate to call the DPW office. We'll make sure they are addressed. Lastly, the mill and paving of Anderson Road was delayed this past week due to nighttime temperatures. Earl is scheduled to begin work next week. Thank you, and as always, we appreciate your continued support and cooperation. That's it, Madam Clerk.
The next item of business is the proclamation and certificate portion of the agenda. Council President Kuhn?
Yes, I am here to give certificates to our varsity and our cheerleaders. So if you guys want to come up and is the coach here? She's not here? She's here? Okay.
Come on.
Did you want to help? If the coaches should just help, if you come up, we could do first and last names. If I do it, I'm just going to call their first names because I don't want to mess up. All right, so I'm going to hand it, and then you guys, all the girls will come up. You guys can just stand in a row, and then council's going to come down and take a picture. Sound good?
Okay, Brooke Ward. Oh, sorry. Alexa Spears. Zoe Ziegler. Isabella Casada. Samantha Pinho. Gia Musto. Peyton Ligori. Brooke L. Alyssa Keneally. Erin Holton. Gianna Palmieri. Julia Goldberg. Kristen Driscoll. Rosa DeRusso. Morgan Corrado. Madison Corrado. Ashley Cook. Bella Accordino. And Amanda Serino. Oh, thank you so much.
Show your papers. Go next to Maureen.
Show the papers.
Yeah, go on the other side of Maureen. Go on the other side of Maureen. Yeah, no, next to him. There's a big gap. Okay.
All right, for the girls, thank you.
Congratulations, Ed.
They went out of here. That's great. They're at the age that they don't, you don't even have to tell. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. Hopefully, we'll see you next year.
Well, not as
Well, there's one. You can still see them. Come on.
The next item of business is a proclamation read by Councilman Palmieri for Education Day.
Proclamation, Township of Jackson. Whereas the basis for the continuity of any society is education, and in the great Township of Jackson, the education of our youth is priority. And whereas in order to achieve its highest goals, education must not only impart knowledge, but also teach the students how to live, forming and strengthening their moral character to make a better life for themselves as individuals and for society as a whole. Imparting moral and ethical values that have been the bedrock of society since the dawn of civilization includes the values known as the 7 no-hide laws. And whereas a global spiritual leader and leading advocate for the advancement of education, the Rabbi Menchem M. Schneerson of righteous memory stressed that a moral and ethical education empowers every individual to develop their full potential in making the world a better place. And whereas such an education can nurture the unity of diverse peoples through encouraging increased acts of goodness and kindness, imbued with the awareness that even a single positive act of an individual can change the world and usher in an era of global peace. And whereas April 9th, 2025 will mark 123 years since the Rebbe's birth, and this year marks the 75th anniversary of his leadership of the Chabad Lubavitch movement. Chabad is an acronym of 3 Hebrew words for wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. The name Lubavitch comes from the city which served as the movement's headquarters for over a century and means city of love. Of all the ethical values which inform our civilization, none is more important than love. Love of wisdom, love of our fellow man, and love of our Creator. These values have guided the Chabad Lubavitch movement throughout its history and are the essence of education at its best. And we should be certain to pass this precious heritage to all the young Americans. And whereas Education and Sharing Day is observed each year on the Rebbe's birthday in recognition of his outstanding and lasting contributions towards the improvement of education, morality, and the acts of charity around the world. A day to pause and reflect on our responsibilities to ensure our youth have the foundation necessary to lead lives rich in purpose and fulfillment through service and good works. And now, therefore, I, Michael Rena, Mayor of Jackson Township, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, along with the Jackson Township Council, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 to be Education and Sharing Day in the Township of Jackson, and call upon everyone to work together to create a better, brighter, and more promising future for all.
Poster film. He wants to say something.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to the mayor and to the council. I think this is probably the 7th or 8th year that the council has been, mayor and the council has been issuing this proclamation. I think the proclamation speaks for itself. I really thank you, Councilman Palmieri, for reading it so eloquently. And the message is, every act of goodness matters, every individual matters. And when we impart that message to our families and to our students, then it becomes a society that is educated and educated in sharing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
The next item of business is Department Head Council Q&A. Recreation Department Head, Mr. Anthony Horta.
Thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Horta. Can you talk? Okay, you're good?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen tonight is that we are going to be a Q&A. So council has prepared some questions, and we would like to ask them. This is not, you have not had a rice notice. This is not, Greg, would you just reaffirm that this has nothing to do with anything? It is just a Q&A. The council has the right, with 2/3 of its, to call a department head to come to a meeting and ask some questions pertaining to efficiency and inefficiency that we find that might be in the department. We're not, answer, don't answer. We just have some questions. Is that okay?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, thank you, sir.
No problem.
Is any, I mean, I have my questions ready if any.
Yeah,
Can I start?
I want.
Absolutely.
Yes, I apologize, but I want to thank the council president and the council for inviting me to be able to speak on behalf of the Recreation Department. I really appreciate it. And Assistant Business Administrator Samantha Novak, I appreciate that too.
No worries. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Council President, can I start?
Absolutely.
So I guess if you don't mind, and really I think where this came from is we're obviously looking at the budget. We're just trying to better understand some of our departments. So if you could just elaborate on what your job is, what recreation means. I think there's a lot of people out there who just don't know. You guys are obviously over here. Most people don't walk in on the typical day. So the clerk's office residents bump into the tax assessor's office, obviously the PD, DPW. If you can give a little bit of a summary of what recreation does.
Sure. Pretty much recreation is like the backbone of.
Can we have another mic for
Yeah,
him?
I'm gonna
Can we
get
have
you a
a-
mic.
That's very uncomfortable. You have to bend down 2 feet.
Hello, hello. There you go.
You're good to go.
Okay, yeah, so pretty much recreation is anything that has to do with generating a lot of activities for adults and the kids throughout Jackson Township. Right now we're promoting a lot of activities that we have this year. We have a basketball camp coming up, Jackson Day 2025 coming up on September 14th. We have an Easter egg hunt coming up this weekend. If anybody's interested in going to the Easter egg hunt, We have a pickleball clinic, tennis clinic coming up, and then we also have for the 6th to 8th graders, we mostly have an ATV riding experience for the kids that they could be able to enjoy. It's one of our an outside facility that we have in Jackson Township that they could be able to rent ATVs and to be able to enjoy the dirt track as well. So any activities, and also I'm creating new activities. I'm trying to see if I can get a fishing tournament in Jackson Township also, and trying to see if I can get a bike tour for bicycle riding also. So any activities, that have to pertain to Jackson Township. I'm all ears, and any new activities that anyone from the administration side or council can come up with. I'm all ears to be able to generate new activities throughout the township as well.
So thank you. I just want to follow up on that. So if you could just elaborate a little bit, like, obviously you work under the administration, and how do you determine which events you do? Easter egg hunt, I know you do a Hanukkah menorah, you do a Christmas lighting. How do you decide and what the process is? If any resident calls you up with an activity, I know last year you did a concert series in the summer. Was that grant based? Like a little bit of a description of what the process is.
Yeah, so the last summer concert series I did last year for it was grant based, 100% through the Ocean County Heritage Commission. They were able to give us a grant. I think I do have the exact amount.
It was 2,500, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. They gave 2,500. We're also talking about grants. We're also had the opportunity to secure a DCA grant for a pickleball court, that we'll get at Wood Lane Park. So we don't shy away from grants at all. So we are open to, any opportunity that I have a grant for recreation. I pretty much go for it. So
I'm just going to ask one more question on this, and then I'll turn it over to the floor. So I came to 2 of the concerts last year, and I was very disappointed as a resident at the crowd. We're a large town, and I know I've had residents reach out to me, tell me they've gone to Tom's River. Tom's River did something beautiful downtown. Obviously, they have a beach. They have a little bit of a different, they have a boardwalk. How would you rate those events from last year, and what could we do differently as a town? Because I came to an event, there were maybe 35 people there, and half of them I don't think even lived in Jackson. So what's the goal, and what are we trying to accomplish? So.
I do apologize for the event that happened last year. On my behalf, it was a little bit of a, not so nice turnout. But we are looking into possibly moving into a different location. I find about moving into the Justice Complex this year, it might generate a lot more kids that are doing. I know really we can't take away from the activities that they do there with baseball and soccer, but I'm trying to have either adults or kids also gravitate towards the summer concert series at the Justice Complex. So if they do play or if they do, for example, play at the Warden Jackson Playground, the Spray Park, or the playground by the in the center of the Justice Complex, they can come over and listen to the summer concert series. But it is going to be for adults, so I'm hoping that there might be a lot of families involved. The day-to-day activities that come through the Justice Complex for mostly sports. So I'm hoping that we will get a better turnout this year, moving into a different location.
I just have to say, I think that's an absolutely fabulous idea, because you do have a lot of families there, and you're watching sports, and if it's not too loud and you have some music in the background, I think that's really, really good. Just to add to the councilman's, I just want to make sure that when you're doing this, just make sure that you give a heads up to our police department so that they're aware beforehand, just so that we make sure that we have security out there. But I think moving it is probably going to be a great idea. So I know every year, listen, in businesses, they say if you can get through 5 years, then you're good. The first year is always rough. But at least you acknowledge that. And that's what I think the questions that we're seeing is you acknowledge that that wasn't the best turnout. Thankfully, it was on grant money. I did look that up. You got $2,500, so it was paid for, which is good. And that's what we want to see. So that was, kind of a wash. Councilman, are you done? Can I go into my? Or go
Yeah,
ahead.
for now. Yeah.
Okay, for now.
Sure.
You want to do go?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I have a couple questions. So what is the 5-year plan for the recreation programs? And what I'm talking about is the sports, the kids. We've had discussions since I've been on council. I just want to know how you plan to keep these programs open, because with schools closing and with everything going on, I want to make sure that these kids have a recreation program to go to and their parents are not, having to get second jobs to keep these kids going to camps in the summer, going to programs, having the best programs. I spoke to parents. We all know I don't have children, but my friends do, and I do speak to them. They say the programs, are getting expensive as the kids get older, but the programs that they're going to are a lot better. So what is in your department, the 5-year plan that you have?
So the 5-year plan is obviously doing every activities that we do and trying to change it up every year. So for example, if we do pickleball this year, I'll try to look outside the box to create a new activity for next year. So any activity, I know our smaller clinics, for example, we have the tennis clinic right now and the pickleball clinic. They are very small. And they have like a small basis, but I'm trying to see if I can advertise it a little bit more outside of the township, also going to media and
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I spoke with Ms. Novak today about it, and it's getting out there. It's getting traction, so it's good. So I want to, we'll go further on that. I just want to go to my next question.
Sure.
What are the process and procedures for the sports teams to gain access to township-owned baseball, basketball, volleyball, football, and soccer fields across the parks in the sports complex? How is it fair to ensure that all of our sports programs, all of these kids have opportunities to use the fields that their parents are paying taxes for and we're paying taxes for, and that almost like they're not turned away? We want to make sure if there's a system and process in place, and listen, if it's first come, first serve, it's first come, first serve. But I just want to see, do you have a process for that, so that if somebody reaches out to council or somebody reaches out to administration, they could say, hey, listen, this is our recreations process and procedures. This is what it is. If it's full, it's full. But we can't have a whole team of, where I'm going with this, and them not being able to have a field when we have other fields. We need to open it up, and we just need to make it fair for boys, girls, and all sports.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for that?
My plan is, if I can be able to have, because we really don't charge to use the field, so any outside organization and in-house organization that wants to use the field, whether it be the roller hockey rink, the turf football field, or the turf soccer field, I know everyone wants to use the Justice Complex. I usually have a field permit application basis, so they can apply online at the Jackson Township website. And there is field availability, and I can either approve it or deny it on the basis of if any other organizations that are already set and scheduled. We really can't conflict with the schedule. Now, talking with Little Leagues, Jackson Soccer Club and Jackson Little League has their own field permit applications that they deal with, and they actually have their own field scheduler gentlemen that they deal with to schedule the fields out at the Justice Complex. Same as the Jackson Soccer Club and the Vista Fields, they have their own field permit applications that they have. I do 100% feel bad for other organizations that want to use the field.
No, of course. I
Yeah.
just want to get to where my point is, and we're going to get into like grant money in all the parks and all the properties that we own. Could be in your 5-year plan to maybe put additional softball fields or wherever you're feeling, that we don't have adequate space for, because everybody wants to be at the Justice Complex. They're $3 million fields. They're gorgeous. I get it. But if it says, and I understand that they're on a lease, I know they pay the township $1 a year,
Correct.
but they make thousands and thousands of dollars and subbing out to traveling teams, correct?
Correct.
So I just want to make sure. So if I was coming in and I wanted to play softball in a town that I live in, and I'm told I can't have a field, but there's all these other kids from other towns coming in, I'm going to say, well, where am I going to go as a resident in my town? Why can't I go and use these beautiful fields that my parents pay taxes for, right?
Of course.
So my thing is, and I just want to kind of go in, because I don't want to leave you here all night, but I want to just go into my next thing. You keep talking about the pickleball project,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
So that pickleball project was done on a $70,000 grant, correct?
Correct.
Was there any issues with that grant in that pickleball?
Yes, there was a little hiccup. What happened was we originally wanted to have the pickleball court at the Justice Complex, but with the Wetlands and the Pinelands Commission, they denied that. So they kind of had a situation where they sent me the wrong invoice, primarily for the fencing, stuff like that. So we kind of forgot about the fencing part of it, but I was able to actually send me the right invoice with the fencing, and the
And
pickle-
how did we pay for that? If we already put in for the grant money and pickleball was on the $70,000 grant, and that's how
Yeah.
much it costs. I believe the offense was additional $40,000. Where did that money come from if it didn't come from grant money?
It came from the accounts that we have in the township.
What account?
Let me see here. I can get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a concern for me. If we're getting grant money and we're missing a $40,000 fence, where is that money coming from? If we want it to come from grant, the grant should have been in for 110.
Council President, if I could just ask a question, make sure I understand. Is the process for the grant that we design it, we submit the grant and make the request based on the design?
Correct.
So is your question, I'm gonna make sure I'm on. So your question is if the fence is $40,000 and pickleball was 70, we should have submitted for 110, not have to take from the township coffers?
Correct.
40?
That's my question, yes.
Okay.
And then listen, mistakes happen. My thing is maybe I think that we need a little bit of an overview in this department. I know that it used to be under DPW, and I'm kind of just seeing in us doing our efficiency and diving deep into, and I just want to say, you're doing an amazing job. I see the programs, I see the kids. I know you're doing trunk or treat. You're doing the trunk or treat and the Easter, and you're doing things, and I see the RVs and I see all these things. I just don't know if maybe we're going so broad to bring so much stuff in. We have a $38,000 deficit last year. Are we making up that deficit? Has that been made up?
I do have the financial statistics for every activity that I do, as well. I can go over that.
I just want to make sure that my case and my point is, are we going through, and if we have this RV at the end of the day, is it at least breaking even? I want the kids to have fun, but we just want to, instead of having 40 sports, if we have 10 and we're getting packed every time, then get them all good, get them focused on, and then move on. We want to do pickleball. Pickleball, I mean, there's a huge demand for pickleball. The fact that we don't have the fence around the pickleball is probably not going to put us into this season. So I'm just saying, like, that's going to be a lot of lost revenue for the
So,
town.
Council President, if I could just, I guess, follow up on that question for 1 second quickly. I know you had sent us, council, I think it was through Ms. Novak, like 8-9 weeks ago, like a summary of a little bit of the description of what you've done in 2024 and some of the things for 2025. And a lot of that was the grant applications, which my understanding, some of those grants were stuff that council found, and some of them were administrative, but a lot of them were council found. And many of those grants, the following through and making sure we had all those processes put in place was done by DPW. So I see a little bit of an overlap, and again, not a problem. You're doing great work. My question is, if from my understanding, could be I'm wrong, maybe Ms. Novak could address this. If I don't know how long you've been in this department for. My understanding is this department used to be a little bit more connected to DPW. There was a little bit of a separation. And my question is, if you would ideally suggest that maybe we should find a way of combining and making it a little bit more cohesive together.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great idea. I do communicate with them, whether I want to put any sign up on the tennis court for reserving the basketball court at the Johnson Memorial Park or the Justice Complex. I do work well with them, in ways.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, do you think it makes
Do you
sense?
think it makes
It's a good
sense?
idea to go back to the way it was,
Yes.
where this was more of a hand of DPW, a division within DPW versus your own office here. And
In essence, you would still have your own budget. You would still have, but it would just maybe have a little bit of an overview and look that could somebody, Mr. Polinsky's been with the township, I don't know, 20 years. He's been here forever. So we're just saying is maybe having somebody with that kind of experience and can maybe just overview what's going on. And maybe, because I understand, I believe DPW caught the fence, correct?
Yes, correct.
So,
Absolutely.
but that's not a problem. People make mistakes. You're human. You're human. You're running a department. You're running a solely department trying to build it out from a deficit. And that's why I was trying to get to the deficit. You're coming in with a $38,000 deficit. I believe, to your credit, you're down to a $16,000 deficit. So I know your numbers. I have to be honest. You should know your numbers. Okay. I'm just being, listen, I'm very straight shooter. You should know your numbers, but that's okay. And you should know, now I have a trick question for you, and you might not know. And if you don't know, don't answer me. But in regards to grants, okay? We just got approval, all right, for recreation for a $92,000 grant, right? Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Okay, so we got it when?
Yes.
No, when did we get it?
Um,
You're aware of it?
$92,000 grant. Yeah, I have to get
It's
back.
okay. We got it
I have
today.
to
We
get
got
back
it
in your
in-
day, but
we-
I am aware of it. I
Okay,
am
so we got
aware
it
that
in this
yeah.
morning at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
So what is your
Yes.
plans? It's a recreation grant. What is your plans to do with this $92,000?
I would love to be able to build more, of a, turf basis. Like I understand we have a lot of turf fields at the Justice Complex, but I love to, broaden my horizons. Like, for example, I know we discussed about Butterfly Road, for that land. We could be able to discuss it another day as well. But I would love to build more turf fields, more
There you
turf
go.
baseball
Great
fields,
answer.
and turf soccer fields.
Great answer.
So we have more organizations or public can play.
Council President, if I could just,
Thank you, because
And-
he
and I'm just- I
gave
just-
him our thoughts, and he took
I
it
just
and
want to
ran with it.
also just add, the reason why, there are a lot of residents here, and I'm sure we're going to try to go on with town business, but this is definitely, I think Council President Starr, this is appropriate forum for council to ask questions to a department
Correct.
through the mayor's office, and that's why we're here. Can we just move to Jackson Day for a second? So
Yeah.
last
absolutely.
year, Jackson Day, I've been going to Jackson Days not for so long because they were moved to Sundays. Jackson Day last year was phenomenal. It was an unbelievable experience. It was a huge crowd. I was on the Jackson Day committee last year. This year I'm not. I think Mr. Borelli and Council President are on it this year. So I can't talk about much for this year. Could you just go through the process, what your involvement with Jackson Day is? Because I know there's a lot of different, the PD has DPW, everyone has a rep there, but what your, I guess, involvement over there is?
The recreation, as me being the recreation coordinator, I'm like the host of the event, but we do also have a committee also that can have some input towards entertainment and promotions and advertisements. So I'm pretty much in charge of hosting the Jackson Day event, along with the committee members too. So.
How do we get, I guess, the vendors that were there? How do we usually get them there?
There are previous vendors that we have from previous years, and they're always interested in coming back. We do reach out to other businesses that are in and outside of Jackson Township, and we just have a lot of advertisements too. So that we promote Jackson Day. So
Has Jackson Day ever been profitable?
yeah.
It's okay. It hasn't. We just want to go into something that Jackson Day, we're never going to lose in Jackson Day. That is our day. But we do want to look into possibly getting it to be a little bit more expansive and profitable, and it was great last year. I mean, the committee, I went to all the meetings, but I didn't put in the 210% that committee put in. They put in their heart, their dedication. The PBA provided, the wine and alcohol. We had so many vendors. We had sports people. I mean, we had everything going on. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was impeccable. I would just like to see the fees up. Now, that I had told you a year and a half ago that the recreation fees I did not want to raise, and I refused to put that ordinance on. I still have not put it on in the last year and a half. Even though you have been diligently asking me, I will not do it. But I did ask for the fees for Jackson Day to be raised. Now, I understand I was not aware that I believe Mr. Catoner, the committee member, went ahead and raised the fee from $50 to $250 for vendors.
Correct.
Okay, that you should have taken the bull by the horn on that. That's great that it did. And I think, as I had said a year and a half ago, it should come from the vendors. $50 is peanuts to come and see 8,000 people. As a business owner, I think I want to see more of that and more of it coming. Listen, businesses have the extra money. Parents of 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever, single moms, they don't have that. $50 is a lot. It's whether their kid can go to a sporting event or can't. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And if we need to revisit the Jackson Day fees, I have no problem. And I think council agrees that we would support raising that. But recreation is not something that we're willing to touch right now.
Okay. I appreciate it.
I have a question.
Oh, thank you.
No. I just wanted you guys.
Oh,
You guys are on a roll, so I didn't want to interrupt. Thank you, Mr. Horta, for coming out today and
I appreciate
and
it.
answering all these
Make sure your
questions.
mic's on.
I appreciate it. Am I too low? I'm never really too low.
I know. I didn't.
I want to go back to a little bit of what Council Vice President was saying. There was, I guess, a music festival that last year, and he had mentioned it wasn't as, I guess, as well attended as it could have been. What does the recreation department do to communicate and promote events, sports, etc.? What are some triggers that we can pull, or we have pulled, or what are some that we have not yet that you think we could? And also with that, how can council support you? Because we have quite a lot of resources of different venues that we could assist you with promoting events.
Sure. So the way I do advertising is I do it for the Jackson Recreational website. I post flyers there, mostly bi-weekly. I also use my recreational management software to be able to promote flyers, and and the recreational management software is a software that a lot of people do join, which is www.capsapoint.com. Anybody from Jackson Township and outside Jackson Township can join the software, and it actually just promotes our daily activities that we do, and it collects revenue from it, as well. So every recreational activity that we post, it goes through that recreational management software, and we can be able to blast messages out. Multiple family members are involved in Community Pass, capsapoint.com, and we advertise it, that way as well. And I do have a connection through the Olson County Tourism Board, she helps me out with promoting some of the flyers and some of the events that we have in Jackson Township.
Have we tapped into any local news media? I don't know, Asbury Park Press, News 12,
Yeah,
Jackson Times, anything like that?
We have got in contact with Asbury Park Press. We're just working on the pricing for them for now, because they do charge for advertising.
Council has an account with Shore News Network that has a pretty huge following. So if you send it to council, we could forward it. We've been posting, we have a website, and we'd be more than happy to collaborate and help you get the word out.
And just two more follow-ups to it, and if I can assist in any way, I know a lot of this is family-oriented. You want parents and kids. Have you reached out to the Board of Education? Because parents have emails on file with the Board of Ed and staff, and they could email blast a great event out, especially if it's a free event, to parents. And I could assist with getting you connected with the right people, or even the flyers you print. Are we putting them in libraries or in small businesses that would allow us, I don't know, any small business around here, Manja, et cetera, that would let you maybe promote them through the small business? And even with the media, we don't always have to pay. Some would be nice enough, like local media, to promote it either on their website, even social media. Do we have a social media account for recreations? Do we push it through there?
Yeah, we have a
Yeah, I was
Facebook.
just thinking, there's a lot of ways we could do this, and it won't cost us anything if we're creative. And I think you have some great ideas. If you want to further discuss more, I would love to do that. I love promoting that stuff and helping you, because I think if we could reach more folks will come.
Absolutely, yeah. We do have a Facebook recreational website that I post flyers for. I guess did the Barnegat Bay Blitz, and then the pickleball clinic, tennis clinic. I've been promoting there as well, and the New York Yankees game too. The New York Yankees game, we have a lot of tickets available for that. If anybody's interested in going to that game on July 31st, I'm trying to get that out there, that we do have available tickets. So.
Can I just follow up on Councilman Palmieri's question for a second? So last year, I think we advertised Jackson Day, and I think it's 107.1, if I remember correctly. That's the invoice and receipt that I have over here. I'm not a big radio person, so I guess explain. Do you feel that was the right radio station? I also have a copy of a deleted contract from 98.5 that we deleted, that we decided to walk away from. So I don't know which of them have a bigger universe in Jackson. I would probably say 101.5 has a little bit more than either of these two. I'm just trying to figure out what made us, how do we decide how to spend the money on for one radio station, cancel a contract with another one, and do you feel going forward that was the best use of money, or what could we do better, like Councilman said, to get the message out?
I know we use Town Square Media, as my committee members were saying. I think we can just do definitely with advertising on a in-house base. If we can get the word out there. If there's any, sites or any businesses that are not willing, to collect revenue, we could be able to advertise it that way. I think we can definitely probably use the money to doing a lot of in-house advertising as well. So.
I have one last question, then I'm done for the evening on this subject.
Sure.
Just following up on an email. So I was going through some of the invoices, and I had a better understanding now of how petty cash works. And I'm a big proponent, as you'll see with the ordinance later tonight, of moving everything onto credit card. And there was obviously an invoice for 100, and I think it was $9 for whistles. I think we had a back and forth about this. And I was trying to understand the process. And again, this is just because I'm ignorant on the subject of, we spent $109 on 9 whistles. And my question really was via email about going on Amazon and getting 30 whistles for $9. And I think your response was they were out of stock. Could you just elaborate? And again, the purpose is everyone should understand what goes on behind the scenes here.
Sure. Yeah, so it was for the junior referees that we have for basketball. They needed the whistles in like an emergency, so I had to go out of my way to actually get the whistles. I know we do have an Amazon business account with Jackson Township, so I do understand that part, but it was an emergency situation that we had to, and I had to get it to the junior referees as soon as possible as well, on petty cash.
Thank you. If I could just, my closing remarks to Anthony, thank you very much. I thought it's important also that the residents don't always see what goes on in this building. Not every resident walks in on a daily basis, and a little bit of a better description of when the budget does come down and they see a line item called recreation. What exactly do you do? So I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. If I can be able to get your permission, I wanted to actually bring one of the Joint Court athletic directors up on the podium, if you could be able to speak, if possible.
We could do that during open comments, just because we have to get into business. And I want you to come and do open comments. We definitely want to hear whoever you want to speak. We definitely want to hear from them. I do want to say, we're good.
Councilman Palmieri stole my question. I was going to ask.
So-
You addressed it regarding how to increase participation.
Yeah. So, and we saw it in your budget, and I'm not going to go over into the budget right now, because we've decided that, you've decided and you think that it's a good idea to have it almost brought over to DPW's department head. I would just want to thank you. You are the first department head to come up. I know it's not easy. You did an amazing job. Thank you for answering all of our questions and taking the time out of your night. I know this is not normal for you, but we did ask you to come, and we just want to say thank you very much, because it does give the insight to the residents of what we're doing over here when we're going into departments and we're looking in, and you were the first of many that we will have up here. So I just want to say thank you again, and have a great night.
Yeah, you too. And I really appreciate for the council president for inviting me today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments from Township Council before we move on to the next agenda item?
I'm in open comments. I'm just going to read mine,
Thank you.
and then we'll go. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by giving an update on council's ongoing commitment to improving transparency, accountability, and efficiency here in Jackson Township. Over the last few months, we've stepped up our efforts by meeting twice a month with our grant writers. One of these meetings focusing on securing funds for infrastructure, parks, and recreation. The other is dedicated to funding supporting for our emergency services, specialties in EMS and police. This strategy helps us to stay organized and ensure we're doing everything we can to bring additional resources into Jackson. We're also introducing our new guided principle called DOGE, which stands for Diligence of Jackson Efficiency. DOGE represents our newly focus on careful oversight and getting the most value for every tax dollar we spend. It's a reminder that we work for you, the residents, and that every decision should benefit this community. As part of this, we're taking a close look at our budget, and in reality, some cuts will need to be made. These aren't decisions we take lightly, but they are necessary to make sure your money is being used wisely and responsibly. We also are reviewing things like department spending, compensation, and areas where we're repeating inefficiencies. These discussions are happening in an open and fairness and transparency, because that's what you deserve. And we want to hear from you. Your feedback is essential. This is your township, and your voice helps shape the decisions we make. With DOGE guiding over oversights, we are finally addressing long-standing issues that have been overlooked for too long. With the shift in how things are done, the one thing is that this has been needed for years. We understand that changes can be resistant, especially after decades without this level of scrutiny. But this council is committed to doing things differently. We will not approve any budget until we are confident that it reflects smart and responsible spending. To close, I want to reaffirm that our commitment to putting the residents of Jackson first together through diligence of Jackson efficiency. We are building a stronger, more transparent, and more effective local government. Thank you, and continue to support Jackson moving forward together. Thank you.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Thank you. I'll try to be quick. First of all, I saw Mr. Horta left, but I see Mr. Cantoner's in the crowd. Mr. Cantoner is a volunteer who probably put in, I don't know, a couple thousand hours last year and that continues to put in to make Jackson Day a great day. I don't know if you have anything to add at the end, but if you do come up to the mic, no, not now, but by the end of the meeting, by public comments, I definitely have some questions. I would love to hear from you also, if you're interested, and if Council President allows.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's point number one. Point number two is, I know we mentioned by the last meeting, we had a meeting with, here in the municipal building with members of our local law enforcement to discuss some of the speeding and bus issues in town. And I'm happy to see a resolution on the agenda to at least start the conversation, to address it. I think it's resolution 141-2025. And we're continuing to work with our law enforcement in trying to create ordinances that are actually enforceable, that will hopefully bring the necessary safety results. Lastly, last meeting, a resident brought up South New Prospect, some of the storm-related issues. So we reached out to the county and they sent us a letter. I'm just going to read the letter quickly. It's from the Office of the Ocean County Engineer. Dear Mr. Bernstein, this letter is a response to your recent email to this office regarding storm damage in South New Prospect in Jackson Township. Please be advised your staff will work with the contractor to address the situation. And then he obviously, thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. Should you or any of your residents have any further concerns, please do not hesitate to contact Jim Simpson. This is his number. I mentioned the above tracking number. So the county did tell us they're coming down and seeing it. We have not gotten a follow-up. I did email them this morning asking where it's holding. But we will continue to put the pressure on them. Thank you and have a good night.
And just to add, they are going to be in our town on May 4th. So
I was
we
going
have a couple
to
more-
add that we have a meeting council in their offices in the middle of May, but they are coming to the Bartley Road area and they are going to be driving around town a little bit with council. And I think the mayor also
Yes.
in the beginning of May. So thank you.
Councilman Borelli.
For the sake of time, I'm going to keep it short. I know they left, but congratulations to the Jackson Liberty Cheer Squad and their coaches on their accomplishments. It's nice to celebrate with them, and I wish them all the best in the future and to keep up the great work. Good seeing you all. Take care and have a good evening.
It was short.
Councilman Palmieri.
I would just like to also congratulate the Jackson Liberty cheerleaders. They were here just a few moments ago. Those young ladies worked very hard. They became state and national champions. Their coaches work very hard, take a lot of time out of their lives to help these young athletes. And it's just great to see it. We have some really talented young people in our town, and we just need to continue to support them. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further by the Township Council before we move on to the next agenda item?
No, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The next item of business is the second reading and public hearing of Ordinance 2025-09. Ordinance 2025-09, amending Chapter 162-4 of the Township Code entitled Subcode Fees to comply with the State Construction Code. This ordinance was introduced on March 25th, 2025. If any member of the public has a comment to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
Hello, everyone. Donnie Edelman, 206 Willow Point. I think it's good that we're trying to get more money for, inspections and all the subcode fees and all that. But before we do that, just a little thought, considering we don't have actually licensed and certified inspectors, maybe we want to make sure that that's taken care of first because.
Sir, this is just a state regulated. They came in and audited the account and said we were charging for TCOs, temporary certificate of occupancies. We were charging $9 more. This has nothing to do with any officials or anything like that.
That's it. All right,
Thank you, sir. Oh, it's tails blue today.
Seeing no one else come forward and make a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-09?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
The next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-10, amending Chapter 3 Administrative Code of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to add a new Article 16, Payment Methods, establishing permitted methods of payment to the township. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments on ordinance 2025-10?
Yes, Madam Clerk. So this will, payment methods. This article specifies that all payments to the township must be made by personal check, business check, money order, or credit card. Cash will no longer be accepted except for the following: the tax collector's office, municipal court, and the senior center. They will still be accepting cash.
And Council President, I think.
Oh, I was
state-
like, I'm not accepting
State, no,
cash.
I think our municipal judge.
Yeah, courts.
Commented, no, just brought out the fact that legally we have to accept.
Oh, yes, legally, the courts can have to accept cash. We can't take that away. And then I'd gotten an email. I was actually in the tax collector's office, and she had said, "Oh, you're going to ruin our lives. We need to take cash." So I said, absolutely. And then the senior center asked if we could still, if they could still accept cash, and we said, absolutely. Mainly, we're just looking for other departments to no longer have cash, including the clerk's office is cashless. I think is within 10 weeks that we got there. So we just wanted all the other departments to follow suit. I think it makes for easier transaction and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments by the Township Council?
He was saying I was trying to collect cash.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-10 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on April 22nd, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
The next item of business is the payment authorization of bills and claims. I would like to note the following abstentions. Abstentions include from Councilman Borelli, AET 01, DEL 01, NJC 03, and NJS 13. And Council President Kuhn's abstention, RCS 02. Are there any questions or comments by the Township Council?
No, Madam Clerk.
May I have a motion to approve the bills and claims with the abstentions noted?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Abstentions on those bill vendor numbers you mentioned regarding myself, and yes to the rest on there.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda listed for tonight's consideration, are resolutions 139 through 151, 2025, listed by title. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments concerning the resolutions listed on tonight's agenda?
Yes, Madam Clerk. In regards to resolution number 140-2025, I made a promise to the residents when I swore in as council that we would review every dollar of spending and cut costs wherever possible. That's exactly what we're doing tonight. I hope that the council follows suit. The truth is, the mayor and the council are all part-time elected positions. We work hard every day for the people of Jackson on top of our full-time jobs. It simply makes sense for these roles to receive a part-time salary. That's what the vote affects and reflects. The Democrats in Trenton are also taxing us enough. State taxes are going up, schools taxes are going up, and this summer, even our utility bills are expected to rise 20%. If we have the opportunity to save our taxpayers over $30,000 with one vote, then we have the responsibility to act. That's what we are doing tonight, keeping our promise to make people to the people of Jackson. This resolution 140-25 will cut the mayor's salary from $65,000 to 32 or to 30. Yeah, 32, and it would also cut my salary to 32. Councils will stay the same. In regards to resolution 141-2025, this is what we were talking about with targeting and streets. As you can see, this resolution has multiple streets on there. We worked with traffic safety. We will have signage. This is not an ordinance. This is a resolution. It is a call to help to the residents to transportation to everything, for children getting off of buses to try to keep them safe. I've met with multiple people. We're trying to do everything, but we can't stop. An ordinance isn't going to stop somebody passing a bus because we can't catch them. There's nobody being called in. So we're asking a call for help for everybody to look out for the children that are crossing, and we're asking the buses to not allow on main roads and county roads and the municipal roads that are listed on here, that they pick them up on the side where the door opens. And please stop having these kids cross Brewers Bridge Road and all of these roads. And drivers out there, if a bus is stopped, please do not pass them. I came on a meeting and I was on Bennett's Mills Road, and I watched this car go. And if I could have chased them and caught them, I would have, but I probably would have gotten a ticket. But they passed on the left-hand side of this bus. Well, this bus is picking up a child. I've watched parents go and grab their kids on Bennett's Mills Road as the 5-year-olds are going. We get calls at council, parents begging if we can get their kids, their 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and 7-year-olds. This is not applicable to high schoolers. It's elementary school. It's not even middle schoolers. It's the elementary kids that are not looking. They're so excited to come home, to run home, to go play whatever games they're going to play, and they just want to rush home, and they're not looking right or left. Okay, so again, this is a call to help. And we ask, and then resolution 150-2025. This is just to change the effective date. It's a liquor license transfer to April 14th. But again, we did a resolution. We're trying to not do an ordinance for these kids, for these buses, but please, please stop going around buses and cutting them off.
Council
Yeah,
President, if I could just
absolutely.
add,
Council, if you have
part of the resolution is calling upon all the various school bus vendors to meet yearly and have the routes reviewed by the PD, which would include
Thank you.
the public school and
Before
the private
August.
school. All routes should be reviewed. Last year was done very late and it wasn't fully done. So we're calling on that process to start earlier and make sure that the PD has a chance to review it and make any recommendations.
And I just want to add, we are meeting with all of LSTA buses and the bus vendors, and I believe that we're trying to get the camps in there on May 7th. We are Councilman Bernstein and myself are meeting with them to have a face-to-face conversation about the, process and procedures of how the buses are driving and all buses. So we just wanted to make sure that we are on top of that, and we have multiple meetings with Director Candido and the police department. I can't tell you how many times that we've just sat there and just said, that's why ordinance is taken off the table, and we're just doing a resolution so that we can put it upon everybody else. Thank you.
Are there any additional comments by the Township Council? Thank you. May I have a motion to authorize the consent agenda resolutions 139 through 151, 2025?
Motion.
Motion, a second.
Councilman Borelli.
I have to vote no on resolutions R140-2025 and also R144-2025. And let me just explain a little bit regarding resolution 140-2025. Our salaries on the council, I understand, are staying the same this year. No, I'm not taking away from the work and hours my fellow council members and I put in to serve our town. However, our council positions continue to be on a part-time basis. I still strongly feel our salaries should be tied to the cost of living. Also, I haven't received any reasons or justification to reduce the mayor's salary, who has also taken on at this time the duties of Township Business Administrator, actually for a couple of months now. And then regarding resolution R144, 2025. I haven't received enough information to make an informed decision on this resolution. We have traffic issues already on the roads in our town, and I think this will add another element to it with big buses coming in. That's my concern. I say yes to the rest of the resolutions on the consent agenda. Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you. Councilman Palmieri.
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Yes, and I just want to add one thing with regard to the bus. We don't have the ability to say which buses come into Jackson, which ones don't. Anyone which is a school bus legally, this is actually, we're trying to, but I just want to explain what the goal of this resolution is make it that gives the PD a little bit more of oversight with regard to these vendors and make sure that everything has a chance to be reviewed, just to clarify that, but yes on everything.
And just to answer the Councilman Borelli, in regards to, you voted no to 144, which is New Jersey Transit,
Yes.
correct? Okay, yeah.
Okay, I
It's-
didn't understand,
that's
yes.
what I was trying to say. New Jersey Transit came in and like we do and like I do everything before I present this agenda to you guys, in the background, I met with the traffic safety director, Candido. We went over them, and actually one of them was taken out. And the only one that was taken out was Grawtown Road because they didn't want cars there. You actually are saying no to employment here. These people need to get to work, and they need transportation to get to work. It's not like you're sitting there or causing more traffic or anything. So again, we get these agendas, and I'm just saying this for transparency. I give these agendas to you guys on Wednesday. I wish you would have called me and asked me, because I would have explained to you and said, we did sit there. It's not causing more traffic. It's actually helping. And I believe the mayor's actually been trying to get, I will say that, that's what he said. I don't know if it's true, but them to come in to get more spots so that people could get traffic, could get to work. So that is the explanation to that.
Well,
But you've already voted no, so I'm not
just a
going to try and
concern.
change your
I
mind.
did vote no.
Okay.
I mean, I expressed a concern. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I
That's
guess the
okay.
future will tell.
Okay,
So,
thanks. Well,
Thank you.
I'm going to vote yes to everything.
Thank you. Motion approved. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
It's up.
Ray Catona, 11 Fordham Road. I want to change, there was some misinformation. For Jackson Day, we raised the food vendors 25%. The fee was $200. We moved it to $250. What we increased was the vendor fees 60%, about 66%. All right, we only have last year we had 24 food vendors. This year, I mean, and then I think like 80 something regular vendors. We hope to go to 125 regular vendors. So we'll not only see a 66% increase, the additional vendors will generate additional revenue. And getting to the radio advertising, it was a little bit backwards. 101.5 was not selected for the same price. It was 88.5 without any discussion was picked. And then it went to the boss, which is 107.5, which is barely a radio station for the same fee. None of us were notified why that happened. I still don't have any answers, to be honest. They had no social media presence. I did some research. They're on the bottom of the barrel in the way of radio advertising. I have no idea why that happened or was not aware of why that happened. So this year, we've been very cost conscious, as we were last year, but we're able to provide new shows at a lesser cost than the previous shows. We're doing an ATV dirt bike. We're going to actually put a racetrack in the park. It's going to end up being cheaper than a motorcycle stunt show. We're going to save a couple of $1,000s on that. We're doing more innovative stuff. We got a parachuter coming in for free. He's going to jump at the American flag. We're doing a monster truck where we're going to actually share revenue. We don't pay them anything. They average about $6,000 a day, and we'll enjoy 30% back from that. So we may make $1,800 there. And getting back to the radio advertising, it was kind of brushed upon by Anthony. Town Square Media is working right now with the Army, and they may become our top sponsor for the event. I can't guarantee that right now, but they are interested. And that would be a nice influx of capital, because obviously I'm guessing that would be in excess of $10,000.
Wow.
So, and I do most of the raising for the sponsors. What are we at? 9,000 once we get the money in. I broke 2 records 2 years in a row. I anticipate to break another record this year.
Can I?
Great
Let him
confidence.
first.
You listen, you did, it was amazing last year. I think we let off doves and everything.
Well,
Like,
this year, if you think last year was great, this year is going to be crazily better.
Can't wait.
One being, we probably have a Black Hawk helicopter coming in and landing. That's a 12-seater. And we're going to have the state police helicopter. Again, no cost to us. Great show. I love the events where we have no cost.
Us too.
What's got me excited
If it's
is
free
we
for me.
just lost one of the world's biggest record-breaking roller coasters, Kinder Cup. Negotiating with Six Flags, we're going to be able to bring the front car of that to Jackson Day, and we're going to make a display. I'd like to charge $5 for a photo opportunity. My estimates are we'll raise on a low-end scale of $5,000 to $15,000 to help actually support our event. The actual cost of bringing everything, obviously, they're not charging us. We are working on characters. They're very excited to be involved this year. It's only taken 15 years to get them that way, but with the new management, they seem to be very interested.
Persistence.
Pardon me?
I said you have great persistence.
Yeah, well, I don't give up. Well, let's put it that way. So, drone show, we're going to have a repeat. I incorporate the high school to help design it, give them something really cool
Thank
to
you.
do, our social media. So we're going to do a small tribute to the military. We're going to, a little less than last year. We've got a rebranding of our high school. So we would like to highlight that. And I've kind of give them carte blanche to do the rest of the show. The beauty of it with the increased cost due to my relationship with the owner of the drone show, he's getting a minimum of $22,500 now to do the show. We're paying the same $15,000 we did last year, which I think is spectacular since I think they did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
So those are the things we're working on. We have a riding park, an ATV riding park for the kids.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Council
you.
Any
President,
questions?
We just have a long meeting.
could I ask
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Catona
absolutely.
2 or 3 questions quickly? I've heard from 2 or 3 businesses that how you have gone to them and gotten them to be sponsors, so we definitely appreciate that. Would you give a percentage of how many businesses that were there last year you thought were brought in by Ray Catona?
And we had vendors wise, and that's a difference. It's a business information booth. You know what I'm saying? It's not really anything substantial, but I think we had about 83. I would like to go to 125. I think we can get there. We got a lot to offer. And you have to understand the event has grown from 5,000 in 2023, the estimate, to 11,000 last year. And I'm looking closer to 17, 18,000 this year.
Wow.
With
Wow.
what we got going. The momentum's building, the shows we got. The ATV race itself has a following of several thousand people.
Right. So
People will come all
I'm just going to
over.
ask one last question. I think you're like Mr. Jackson. This is,
Good to be here. Thanks.
Yeah.
tonight.
you're like Mr. Jackson Day. Ray, if you don't mind me asking, do you get a stipend from the township for all the, you probably put in 10,000 hours for this. Do you get a stipend?
Yes, I work 7 days a week until the
You do
event
get a
occurs.
stipend?
Pardon me?
You
Do-
get a stipend?
Do you get a stipend?
I get nothing. I'm a
No.
volunteer.
You're
You're a
volunteer.
volunteer.
I would like, I do, it costs me $150 every Jackson Day. I would love to get reimbursed for that, for ink and paper. All right, I help, basically.
You send the
negoti-
clerk's office anything that you need printed, and we have a color printer. We will print it for you.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's-
That goes without saying.
It would cost me more in gas to come back and forth.
I'll
than it
deliver
would
them to the
print.
gym. All right?
Yeah, I got a full, I keep
All right.
everything
We have to
organized.
go. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Good evening, Carrie Ricks, 21 Brittany Lane. Good evening, council members. I am here on behalf of the Lady Jags travel softball team, on behalf of our community, including our parents, our coaches, and most importantly, our girls. First, I want to thank the city council president, council members, and the recreational department for all of their work they have done to support youth sports in Jackson. We appreciate your responsiveness in the recent conversation and your willingness to listen and work together to reserve Johnson Park for our team practices. We know that creating opportunities for our kids requires coordination, commitment, resources, and we are grateful for your efforts. As I shared last week with the mayor, city council, and recreational director, I am here tonight because our travel softball team, the Lady Jags, have consistently struggled to access public fields in our own town. Our girls deserve better. We face significant roadblocks trying to reserve a softball field at Holbrook Little League and Justice Complex. We've been told field bookings are limited to 1 week window in advance. Even when we rarely successful, most frustrating of all, we've been told that fields are fully booked or limited availability. Yet when we arrive for practice, surrounding fields sit empty. This isn't just a scheduling issue. It feels like we're unwanted in our own community. Let me give an example. I was recently informed our 10U travel team was asked to leave a softball field. They have reserved to allow a boys team to practice instead. During our most recent fall season, our team was forced to either cut practices short or play in the dark at Justice Complex because the lights were not turned on, while the lights were shining over an empty turf field adjacent to the darkened field we were provided. My daughter's Holbrook Little League experience has been very similar. Over the last 3 seasons, 2 fall and 1 spring, my daughter's recreational softball team at Holbrook Little League has held only 4 practices in total. Every time, the reason given by the volunteer coaches was lack of field availability. Yet, we saw empty fields. This is not a new problem, nor is it unique to our team. It reflects a larger pattern of inequity between girls and boys sports here in our town. So tonight, I'm just not here to complain. I'm asking for some solutions. We're requesting equal access to all public softball or baseball fields for our girls and boys teams. Improved protocols for booking the many softball fields that are around Jackson. Improved communication with lighting. If lights are available, they should be used fairly across all fields and sports. Access to the turf field, especially when it's vacant and our team is practicing in the dark. Access to additional softball fields ready beyond Johnson Park and Camp Joy fields that are equipped with home plates, bases, and playable surfaces for safe and fair practices at games. Our girls want to play. They want to practice. They want to grow as athletes and teammates, but they need your help to make it possible. We are not asking for favors. We're asking for fairness, the kind that ensures every child in Jackson, regardless of gender, has equal access to resources their families pay taxes to support. Thank you for your time and your commitment to our youth. I hope you will work with us and Jackson make a place for all athletes, have equal opportunity to succeed. I look forward to hearing from the council with next steps to ensure all Jackson sports teams are treated with value and respect by the community.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am. I just want you to say it because you know who I am. I called you right away. And I do think that that's good. I do appreciate, I did respond to you and we did hopefully secure you for this season, but it's just this season.
Yes.
In looking into the history of what's going on with the girls' sports, I realized that this has been a long standing problem. I did speak to administration and I will speak with administration again. And we are going to look into, I don't know, almost like maybe a Google Calendar that can go online and show who's got the field, what field's open, and can reserve it or something. Something needs to be more transparent. That everybody. I understand that they have the turf fields. Everybody should be able to use the turf fields, and if it's not being utilized, it should be open. But you first come, first serve, and you reserve it. I think that should be something that I can hopefully work with administration and we can do. But there should be no team that is turned away for a vacant field and not have lights. That's on me, so you're fine. It's a problem. It's not fair. It's not fair. Everybody should have 100% be able to use boys, girls, any sports, and that's kind of what we opened up with this morning.
Yep.
So that seed was already planted in with recreation, and I will promise you, I will follow up with that, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Dave Visconti, Whitesville Road, Jackson, New Jersey. Speaking as a resident and not an employee, my intention is not to intimidate or harass anybody here. My question is probably a legal one, which might be best suited to be answered by Mr. McGuckin. And this came up as a result of the township's new initiative to restrict the acceptance of currency in certain departments. The $5 bill that I have here is a U.S. currency Federal Reserve note. And the note says the following, and every piece of current U.S. currency says the same thing. It says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So with this embossed on every piece of currency, how can the township restrict the payment of debts that doesn't include U.S. currency? If I hypothetically, okay, I'm a landlord and I want to come into code enforcement and pay my yearly $125 landlord registration fee in January. It's my understanding that as a result of these new rules, I can't come in with $125 in cash and pay my fee. Am I correct, Mr. McGuffey?
You are correct that that's what the ordinance would prohibit, and townships and municipalities can prohibit cash transactions. They are permitted to do so.
But how are they permitted to do so
By statute.
if the currency says different?
By statute, we are allowed to do that. And it's for public corruption purposes, and it is
New
specific.
Jersey? New Jersey statute?
I do not have it in front of me, but I will tell you that I have researched it, not only in this town and other towns. It is permissible for a township to prohibit cash transactions except in the municipal court.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dan Pekarchik, 17 Alaska Avenue here in Jackson. Mr. Bernstein, thank you for contacting the county about South New Prospect. I'm here to tell you that yesterday they repaved the area by McCurdy Lane. However, now tonight, the road is closed again. New Jersey Natural Gas has torn up the road again for a gas leak. So we're going backwards. Can we find out what's wrong with the infrastructure in that area, that there's 2 gas leaks in less than a month? That the road gets torn
There's
up?
changing gas lines. They're at my house. They were at my house yesterday, and I actually had
The
them go
whole,
down.
the whole Brookwood one, I live in Brookwood one also. The whole Brookwood one is the gas lines are being redone. They were on, I think, Alaska. Not Alaska. They were on Arizona earlier this week. So I know they're making it.
They're on Redwood right now. So,
Yeah, but like I say, South New Prospect is closed again tonight.
and
the-
Bennett Mills was too.
And the street is torn up again. And the police are there, there's a detour into the.
Oh, I know.
So
They're
I
all
think
over.
definitely more communication between the various utility companies and the county and the municipality definitely would be beneficial.
And again, please get education out there about helmets on children. Somebody is going.
It's enforcement.
to
And
get-
we passed the ordinance of no bikes, no these gas bikes, and they're all over. Please, I don't
I
want
mean, we've got to do something. Somebody is
agree.
going to get
I agree.
seriously injured
I
and brain damaged.
It's
It's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello again, everyone. Donnie Edelman, 206 Willow Point. I'm just going to say, because I've gotten about 50 messages since, the comments about the pay went out. I think it's a little unnerving that you guys gave yourself a hefty raise last year, and you claim that it's based upon the cost of living and it's a part-time job, yet $34,000 a year, give or take. That's about $16 an hour, which is way more than minimum wage in the state of New Jersey for a full-time job. Our mayor is averaging about $29 an hour after the new proposed thing for a part-time job that everybody on the board and certainly Mr. Mayor himself are enjoying other intangible fringe benefits that can't necessarily be quantified, but you just might want to think about that. Next, the Jackson concert, the series, and even Jackson Day, I think it's just a marketing problem, especially with the concert series. Having this little electronic sign out here and having a few things placed up in the billboard in the park is not really going to draw a lot of people. It just needs to be marketed a hell of a lot better. A couple of other things are the community development block grant. I hope I'm saying that right. As you know, the 2 times that they were here asking for suggestions, I brought up the thing about the dog park. I don't know if anybody's suggested anything else. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. There's nothing on the website. So if hopefully no one else has, so maybe we can get that resolved and make that ADA accessible. And then the last thing is, I was sitting there just going over some stuff because of some issues I have with Jackson Police, and I stumbled across something about an ADA advisory board. What happened with that? Because I can't find anything about it on the website.
The what?
The Jackson ADA Advisory Board. It is, hold on.
You know what? That's a great question. Let me,
It is,
I'll make it back to you.
just so you know, it's section 3-155 through section 3-167 on the Jackson Codes, article, I guess that's 14.
You want to email that to me,
Yeah.
Donnie? Okay.
It's in
Let's just do
One second,
that.
Mr. Edelman, who fills that board? I've never heard of that board before.
I've never heard of it either.
The American Constituent shall consist of 5 regular members and 2 alternate members designated by alternate number 1, alternate number 2, appointed by the mayor.
Oh, so it's a mayor appointment.
right.
So send it to me and I'll send it to the mayor and we'll see if he'll
Sure.
appoint somebody.
And then it talks about an ADA coordinator for the town and so forth like that. So I'll send that over to you.
Thank you.
All right. And then the last thing is for our, what is it, $60,000 a year that we're paying the mayor?
65, it just got
60.
reduced to
All right.
32.
All right, for $32,000 a year, we're paying the mayor, and God knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're paying Chief Coons. You know, I may have quite a few disagreements with Police Director Candido, but he's here every week. or every 2
Absolutely.
weeks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, can we maybe do something to get the other 2 guys in here?
We can't, that's currently in the litigation and we can't answer that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye, dog. Aw.
You're next.
I think I'm the last one.
Okay.
My name is Paul Revere. I'm on West Commodore Boulevard, Jackson. The first thing I want to talk about is it was very good Park and Recreation came in. Park and Recreation Administration was one of my majors when I graduated from college. So, but since then, I'm a systems engineer. And the first thing you do is you got to start with the requirements document and the definition and the identification of the requirements. So I guess it's good practice for recreation to issue a survey and also research how many people are in the town. Now, there are some industry standards for X amount of people. You know, the best practice is X amount of distributed parks. And I would love to see a master plan for that. And also, everybody hates it when you see a brand new park and one facility is just never used. It's like, you struck out on that. So that survey, from the survey, you do a bar chart and then you can find out what the trends are, what's really popular, and go from there. And then also I recommend it's called bi-directional planning. You start at the end and you work to where you are now, and you start to where you are now to where you want to be. And so I'll be glad to volunteer my services on recreation planning. I've been going to meetings because I'm new in town, and the high density zoning that development that we have here. There's got to be a better checklist for the town. I mean, I don't blame the developers for wanting to jam every house they can in there, because that's their job, okay? They need to make that profitable, and they do that by getting as many home sites as they can. And I think we're seeing that over on 537 now. So, but there's got to be questions. So there's a conflict there. They want to make as much money, and you want to preserve and protect Jackson. So the people who are preserving and protecting Jackson need a good checklist. And one of them is, where are the children going to play? When you see a development plan and you don't see anywhere a child can play, that's a red flag. Okay, the next thing is the parking. I've seen many of these come up, and the parking, it does not consider the amount of visitors that come. And up by Quick Check on Route 33, D.R. Horton just put a very high dense development. And they had a bike path. Well, they didn't plan right for the cars, the parking. Now they're parking on the bike path. So that's something you got to do before you approve it. Okay, that touches on that. The next thing is, and I'll tell you, once you approve it, that's permanent, and it will be a really bad situation for those families. Another thing is to have a community building where people can get together. I'm just talking quality of life here, okay? The next thing I have is wetlands. I mean, as a person who appreciates open space, the wetlands are a gift. We can't have people filling them in, knocking them down. I mean, that's a gift that is to Jackson. And there is a law that we have, Jackson has, that if you know you're in a wetlands area, you cannot go before the board without having all the NJDEP requirements. One of them is a delineation of the wetlands. And that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, how can you go before a planning board, zoning board, and talk about a site plan without knowing where the wetlands are? So you have enforced that, and think I saw Mr. McGuckin's letter to somebody on that. You can't have people just disregard that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
Deb Jones, Hyson Road. I just had a question when it was asked about not allowing cash, and you said there was a statute. Who would have that statute that you're basing this on?
It's a state statute. I'm sorry, I don't have it with me tonight. I didn't know that would be the question. I actually had to research it for Tom's River when they did the same thing that Jackson just did. State statute requires commercial vendors, such as retail stores, are required to accept cash by statute. And the statute provides a specific exception by virtue of the fact that it does not include public entities. It only applies to commercial businesses selling items to the public. It doesn't apply to public entities.
Okay, because when I look it up, it says there is no New Jersey statute that allows the Township of Jackson or any municipality to prohibit cash as an acceptable form of payment in township offices. In fact, New Jersey, wait, I'm just going to finish reading what I'm seeing. New Jersey law prohibits requiring buyers to pay with credit or prohibiting cash as payment. And then down further, it says New Jersey's Consumer Fraud Act. The New Jersey Consumer Fraud Act protects consumers' rights to pay for goods and services with cash. So
That's all correct. The problem is the question you ask AI is not the question that was asked here. And that is the Consumer Fraud Act applies to consumers from retail and other stores. It does not apply to public entities.
okay, that was the second thing I read. The first thing I read says, no, there is no New Jersey statute. So all I'm asking, can you put it on record what the statute is so that...
The statute is the Consumer Fraud Act that requires commercial entities to accept cash. It does not require public entities to do so. That's the statute I'm referring to.
I understand that. That's what you're saying. I'm asking for the statute number to be put somewhere in our township record so that we can, as taxpayers, look into it more, because this was the first reading, correct?
It's the same statute that you just referred to. That's the one.
I'm totally understanding what you're saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I would like to do my own due diligence as well as other taxpayers.
Madam Clerk, can you get that information that she's asking for from our attorney? And then we will put it on the Jackson Township Council page when we post it when we post the ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Anyone else? Oh.
Hello, my name is Dan Simkowski. I'm not a Jackson resident, but I serve as the Director of Athletics at Georgian Court University. Mr. Horta had asked me here initially, thinking that there would be some questions that I would have to address about basically our collaboration with Jackson Rec and Jackson Little League for the Georgian Court baseball team to use the 6090 field at Justice Complex. That is basically the biggest field that only the oldest kids use, which has been underutilized. And for those that have been to the complex, it's
Wait, so Georgian Court comes into Jackson and you use our fields and our kids can't use them?
so this is this is where I'll basically be at. So the 6090 field
Do
is
you
that
pay to
field.
use these fields? And if you
So
do,
this
who do
is
you pay?
the agreement that we basically had, is that we paid for the rehabilitation of that field. We're basically going on about $60,000 of Georgian Court funds that are paying for that field. So that 6090 field is that back field by the police station that is pretty much was used not very much. It's really so big that it's only the oldest kids. So we have the Little League fields, the turf, which is that first part. Thank you. That is the picture of it right there. We've basically paid to rehab it. Thus far, we've basically been on the field 3 times so far this year. So if my CFO saw what we were paying per usage, he'd have a
You got
fit
in
with
trouble.
me. But at the end of the day, we've kind of seen this as a long-term partnership. To give you a little bit of the insight about this, we approach this as number one. We would use this when the field is not being used. So we are roughly we are off the field by normally 4:30. We play games at 10 a.m. on some days while students are still in school. Fortunately for our college students, they're able to accommodate schedules to have those games. So basically we use the field when no one's on it. We basically paid to rehab it, and there is still a lot
Well,
of work.
thank you. This is a
that
great
needs
conversation.
to be done.
We'll take your
And-
$60,000 into our field.
So Anthony was expecting, I guess, to have questions about this and kind of why he asked me to come. And there's still a lot of work that has to get done with it. And as you would expect, working with the Little League as well, we made the field nice. We need this tarp, and most of those are shared expenses between Georgian Court and Jackson Little League, which, as we understand, this has not been an easy process to get to this spot. We're actually playing on the field, but we did decide to, again, come to Jackson, one, that you are, our neighbors and someone that we would work with. But if we're going to make that investment, we felt that using it with Jackson was better than, again, because we do not have a baseball field on campus is probably the best way to put it.
I have are your kids okay? There was an accident over by the Wawa a couple days ago, no? The
Yes.
boys, are they okay?
So the one gentleman was in the game today because I asked him, he's cleared to play. So he's back on. So
Okay,
as
good.
far as I'm aware, everyone is.
All right, good. As long as everyone's safe, I saw that and I was like, that's how when I saw Georgian Court, I've never seen you guys here before, and there was like 12 of them in Wawa. I know all their cars are lined. I'm like, oh my God, are they all right? Okay, so you're saying that you guys gave $60,000, so $20,000 a game, and to do improvements into our field, and now you have a collaboration with.
So because of this situation of how Jackson handles the fields, basically we did our permit process through Anthony with Jackson Rec, but at the same time we have, again, a contract. It's kind of a contract either of us can get out at any point with Jackson Rec. Sorry,
Okay.
Jackson Little League. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jackson
big
Little
difference.
League.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that say they obviously hold, or they're saying that they hold the rights to the field.
To our field?
To that field for their $1 a year lease. Again, I'm not here to
No.
certainly
So,
change
so
anything.
the $20,000, it goes to Jackson.
We're saying we should be spending less money. Basically, we've paid.
But no.
The
So the
contractor.
$1 that they pay the town, you're telling me that you pay when you use there. So you used it 3 times. So each time was $20,000, and you paid it to Jackson Little League.
So we did not pay 20,000. We
They're
paid
paying
to
apparently-
rehabilitate
Can I
the
stop
field.
this for a second? Because I'm concerned. If this is a contract relating to a township facility, township needs to be involved in it. There is a lease between the township and the Little League for certain fields that they're allowed to utilize under the terms of the lease. It's been a long time since I looked at it, but I think it requires approval from the township to do something like this, and I'm not aware of anything like that. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I read that.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you know when this agreement came into
So on my side, I've been working on it for, I guess, almost 2 years was when I approached Anthony initially of just help me. How would I go about doing this?
Nino, you're the longest serving council member.
The work, while it seems to add up, and I know my time is 12 seconds here, it seems to add up like, wow, that's a lot of money. But if you were to look at the work done would be in, again, what the league would say is in their scope of, again, knocking down the baseball mound, rebuilding the mound. You would think that is a hey, we could do that for $100, but that's basically $8,000 a mound to
Wow.
basically take out the clay, rebuild it. So that's really where the stem of that comes from. That it's not like we're building a building or anything. It is
No, no. I get it.
very much replacing and making what's nicer there. And I'm sorry that I went over my time.
No. Thank you. I appreciate you coming. And I'm actually, do you have a card?
So
Just, I'll
I've got
be
an
down
old one
after.
here, but I realized I didn't grab new ones, but I can leave these here too.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment.
Yeah. Oh, I hit this?
Second.
Second. Motion to close.
All in favor?
I got a new gavel.
Any opposed?
Motion to close.
Is there anything
Meeting's
further
closed.
from the Township Council?
Oh, no. Oh, close public comment.
We did it already.
Oh. Motion to close the meeting. It's my
Thank
new
you.
gavel.
Motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's why I just want to use the gavel.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This kid, I get to see.